Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a 2007 Porsche Cayenne S. This one with a 4.8 liter V8 engine that puts out 380 horsepower. Now, this one was bought from auction here in Japan for export over to Canada. It is an auction grade 4B, so very high condition with 75,000 original kilometers. Of course, authenticated kilometers. Well, let's take a look at the vehicle and compare it to the vehicle's auction inspection sheet before we send it over to Canada. The vehicle just came in like this. It hasn't been prepped in any way. This is the raw vehicle before it gets sent off. This is a wholesale weight to buy. And so here's your wholesale Cayenne. And you look here, 75,940 kilometers. I also have the suspension in the lowest setting just to test the air suspension, and it does work properly. Overall condition of this car is good. It does have a couple of minor hiccups. Mostly the interior has a smell of cigarettes, and that's really the biggest problem. Well, maybe the biggest problem. One of the tires burst on the way to us because they are a cheap tire, and I hate to say it, but kind of a bad sign if an expensive car like this is running cheap tires. Mazzini is the brand, and yeah, they're kind of cracking and bad even though they're only a 5-year-old tire. People get nice expensive tires and they will take care of you. It's not only a safety thing, but performance is way better on a good tire. And just let me show you this. That tire is messed up. You can see the wires coming out. So this one's going to need to have some new tires before it heads its way over to Canada. Oh, and this one has a big hole in the roof. Look. It has the full panoramic roof. It has 3 glass panels that all slide fully to give you a really nice view. Now, coming back to the engine here, we have checked the coolant and we checked the oil, and both of those looked like they were okay. It is always a good idea when the car lands in order to change all of your fluids, just to make sure that you know what condition it is for certain. You're not just guessing based on someone else's maintenance, and that someone else is someone who put on the wrong tires onto their car. Okay, close this up for now. All right. And a quick talk about the Cayenne. This is the first generation post facelift, so the front end is a little bit more aggressive. These are a very good value, and we're selling a lot of them from Japan because they tend to be pretty cheap. You can get them in a whole bunch of different versions, from 250 horsepower up to 550 horsepower. This one's right in the middle. It has no turbos, which makes it more likely to be reliable and less costly when something goes wrong, and it should be pretty good for quite some time. These are fairly known to be reliable vehicles. I know people are afraid of the turbo ones. It really depends on how much you're okay with the maintenance, but the cost in the used market for these is such a small fraction of the original price of them that, drive it, enjoy it. If something goes wrong, maybe it's time for a new vehicle. Maybe you can repair it. It really depends. Anyway, I'll just translate this for you real quick. It's a 2007 Porsche Cayenne 4.8S, auction grade 4, interior B with sunroof, power steering, power windows, leather, and airbag. The sales points are aftermarket Navi, toll collection box for Japanese highways, and brown leather. Okay. Report here says steering wheel and seat wear. Interior dirty, and headliner comes down. It's only very minor. A lot of German cars have headliner problems. This one is very, very minor. It wouldn't annoy me at all, and I'll show you that in a second. Rear hatch damper doesn't work. It actually holds the damper. It holds the trunk up. It doesn't hold it up the best, but it does hold it up. Wheels scratched. Not too bad, and the wheels do look like an upgraded one from a later version of the Cayenne, and then various scratches and dents. The panel here, paint peeling, I've seen this on pretty much all of them, so it's not a surprise. And this says paint cracking, and then paint peeling back here, which I couldn't find, and it should be on the the left rear corner. Let's just see if we can find that by looking at it more closely. And yes, the vehicle is dirty, so my apologies. Okay, I see it now. It is right here. And under here, you can see more. I guess I didn't look down underneath the vehicle, but yeah. Doesn't take away a lot from the vehicle. Most people aren't going to be like, what's down there? Some peeling paint. And it is gorgeous everywhere else. Basically no scratches and no dents. Okay, and yeah, that's everything. Oh, it says cloudy headlights, and it's true, they are cloudy. They're not the worst, and for Canada, you actually have to change the headlights to be legal to drive there, because these ones point in the wrong direction. Yes, this one is a right-hand drive model, the natural Japanese configuration. But you can get them in Japan in left-hand drive. There were plenty of them that were imported here, and besides that, there are also original Japanese models that were available in right-hand drive, though I don't know if these non-turbo ones were ever sold in left-hand drive here in Japan. I know the turbo ones were. I suspect some of the other models were, but I'm not really too sure. It's usually the higher-end models are the ones that people value more and are okay with the inconvenience of driving the left-hand drive model here in Japan, even though the roads are made for right-hand drive vehicles. It's a little bit weird, but there is this kind of thing like, my car is an import, and it's extra special, and I'm extra special because of that. Yeah, look at that roof. Amazing. Okay. Wheels, we got 4 piston calipers in the back, 6 piston huge calipers in the front. Just have a quick peek at that. Look at that caliper. That's like the brake disc and the caliper are bigger than the wheels on some of my cars. And I can't shoot the whole thing without being welcomed to the jungle here. And that's unfortunate. Maybe time for a new lot. Okay, so there you have it all the way around. There really isn't anything to point out in terms of troubles. I will point out a few interesting things. We have the headlight here. We have a marker light here, and then a fog light down here. Oh, and there is a little bit of peeling paint down here as well, I just noticed. There are functional brake cooling ducts in the bumper, which is very nice. Badges are in great condition. And you get what looks like a little bit of a spoiler when you open up the sunroof. Kind of cool. Okay, side panels are excellent all the way down, so I'm not really going to focus on those too much. The late model has a much better looking design, and did you know you can get these with a manual transmission? How many SUVs do you know that you can get with a manual transmission? Now, I've only ever seen them here in Japan with the VR6 engine. The 3.2 liter 250 horsepower VR6 engine, and they tend to be very rare. I looked at dealerships, and all across Japan, only 3 of them for sale. And I tried to buy one at auction for myself because I just thought that it was so cool to get a manual transmission SUV. Alas, I didn't win it, and they wanted way more than the automatic transmission ones, by a factor of 4 times more. I was willing to pay almost that much, but I didn't end up winning it. And so I got that truck instead, which I still use, and it's awesome. And it has a manual transmission. Okay, up we go. I kind of want to jump right in there, but it is a tall vehicle, so I don't recommend it. And this piece, this piece here is also made out of glass, it looks like. You can see through it. Cool. Okay, I'm going to turn on the engine briefly just so I can close that sunroof and you can have a quick look. Oh, and the key looks like a Cayenne. See, it has little headlights and everything. Kind of fun. Okay. Oh, and the battery is weak. Uh-oh. How are you going to do this? Yeah, it's not happy. Yes. And because this is basically a Volkswagen, it's really easy to close this. Look, you want to close it a little bit, you just go click, 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 and it'll stop in that position.
Strata, car navy station.
But I don't want it to stop in that position. I'm just going to go full close. Watch it go. Sounds like it needs to be greased. That sound is kind of annoying. Oh, it was putting up resistance. Try that again. Do you see? That was the safety thing. And down, and down. And then if you don't want to be sunned on, then we got a cover here. It takes some time to close, so we'll just wait. Small price to pay though. This is a very cool roof. Okay, Engine off. Boop. Oh, and yes, the suspension is air suspension, and it is currently in the lowest of the 5 different settings for suspension height, making it a little bit on the sporty side. I quite like it. And I do like the looks of these. I think the post facelift is a lot better looking than the pre-facelift. Nice spoiler on the back too, functional spoiler. Okay, problem. This here is shaky and it has a crack on it. That is basically your only problem in the car. Now let's go into the trunk. And you'll see this comes up, pretty easy to lift it up. And if you hold it there for just a second, it'll hold itself up. The dampers for that, you buy a German car, you deal with things like this. The dampers are in there. I don't know how easy they are to change. Maybe not the easiest to change. Okay, somebody also left their Tully's Barista's Latte in here. And a Porsche part. What do we got? Oh, wow. It's a part I can't even... it's a new part, which is cool. I have no idea what this is, though. It has a button on it. Something for the interior. Maybe a mirror thing? I'll leave that in here. Okay. Also a thing of screws, some tissues, and these mats, which don't match up with any of the floors. They're not the front seats, they're not the back seats, and there are only 2 rows in this. Actually, this is the same platform as the Volkswagen Touareg and the Audi Q7, I think? The Q9 didn't come out at this time yet. The Audi is the only one that got a 3rd row, because this one's supposed to be the sports boy. The exhaust sounds awesome. I wish I could show you, but I don't want to start the engine again. And then you get some aero parts in the back here that have a unique look to them, I guess. Okay, center seats. Plenty of room. Tan leather seats. Leg room for your adults if you want. If you want kids in here. I think most of the Cayennes here in Japan are family vehicles for fairly wealthy family. I know one family that is extremely wealthy and still drives one of this generation, which is pretty rare in Japan. You'll find that a lot of the luxury cars fall in price quickly because none of the rich people want to be seen dead in a car that isn't the current generation. And that's more so in Japan than I experienced in Canada ever. Part of the reason why cars fall in price so much here, especially the German cars. Okay. Interior. I've never, to be honest, I've never really loved the interior of these. But I do like the rest of the car. I feel like the interior is a little bit on the cheap side, but you can't have everything that you want in every car, and that is, in my opinion, one of the downsides. You do have like plastic here instead of leather, for example. And then the leather that's in here I thought is okay. If you have a 911 as your regular car, then you'll see a lot of similarities between this and the 911. But the 911 does have a more quality feel to it. But it's also a car that nowadays costs $150,000, where Cayennes are what? 80? They start at 80 maybe? Okay. Power seats work. Floor mats are okay, a little bit dirty. Yes, cigarette smell in here. I gave it a 4 out of 10 cigarette smell, but I might upgrade that to a 5 out of 10. It's really hard to say. You got different 4-wheel drive modes for driving on the highway or driving in the mountains. You have sport, normal, and comfort mode. And then here's how you change your suspension height. Okay, someone's old cigarettes are left in here because they couldn't be bothered to clean that out before selling it. Wholesale, keep in mind. Save money, clean out the cigarettes. That's the motto. That's not actually the motto. Air conditioning works fine. Steering works fine. The engine has a little bit of vibration in the chassis. This might be a motor mount. You might want to check into that. Have an expert take a look at it. That there is a radar detector. Low mileage. Yep. People always wonder, why would you buy this car from Japan when we have so many of them in our country? Well, they're usually fairly low mileage in Japan. and they're cheaper, and they're often in better condition. So it's, once you take a look, once you start bidding on cars, once you start importing them, then you'll see. That's just how it is. Okay. And we're basically done there. Porsche Cayenne in white, automatic transmission and 380 horsepower Cayenne S version. Okay, thanks so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can also check out our website if you want information on how to import cars for yourself. There's a link to that in the description. Thank you everyone who made it this far into the video. I love you so much, and have a nice day.